Hello, welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster guy, coming to you with an interesting show today. It's definitely going to be if the pre-show and the pre-pre-show, that's the show before the pre-show. if they're any indication, this is going to be an interesting show. Today we're talking about tally lights in VidBlaster, and these are the special tally lights from tally-lights.com. Ted Kazmierzak's group up there in the Midwest, I guess you would call it. Anyway, we'll get to that in just a second. Thanks so much for tuning in. For all you folks that are watching live, I see Kent showed up. Kent, you were late. And for those of you watching on YouTube, we're delighted to have you. We actually have a little special offer that if you're watching on YouTube, you can skip to the end and get the special offer. But if you watch the show all the way to the end, you get the special offer today. Please subscribe on YouTube. We'd love to have you as a subscriber, and that way you get a notice whenever we post a new video. And if you're interested and want to kind of exclusive access to some of our videos, that is, you get to see them before other people do, just go to our website, easternshorebroadcasting.com, right here, and you can sign up for exclusive video content. We'll send you a note whenever we've posted something cool. And generally, when we do really cool stuff, we'll send it out to all of our subscribers on the email list early, and then we'll make it available to everybody else on YouTube when the time comes. And there's no cost to being an exclusive video subscriber. No big deal. Anyway, let's see. Today we're talking about tally lights from tally-lights.com, Ted Kazmierzak's group. And the tally lights are really an interesting little creature. Let's see. And today's show is just on a wing and a prayer. This is what a tally light looks like. Let's see if we can get it over here, where it's out of the lower third. And I've got it mounted on a just a webcam, which is mounted on a little teeny tripod. And I'm actually going to use this to show you what the tally lights look like when we get them. Let's see if we can get that configured correctly. And that camera's not doing anything. Oh well, that's what it is when you do live TV. This is the shot that we had hoped would be actually an active camera, but it's not active. So we'll have to work that one out. The tally lights light up when you switch cameras in VidBlaster. And let me bring up my VidBlaster screen right here. And I've set up two cameras that are not part, well, and let me back up a second. Boy, I'm starting in the middle of the story. Today's show is interesting because we are as we normally do, we're broadcasting it and recording it using Wirecast, because Wirecast does such a great job of encoding, much better than Flash Media Live Encoder in my mind, because it uses the GPU in my CPU in my PC as well as the CPU. Flash Media Live Encoder doesn't make hardly any use of the GPU. And we're using vMix to actually produce the show, because we want to show you what's going on live in VidBlaster while we're doing all of that other stuff. So who knows who knows exactly what's going to happen. Certainly I don't. I thought I did, but you know how that stuff goes. I had a camera that I was going to show you guys, but it decided to stop working all of a sudden. Anyway, let's go back here. There we go, back here. So in VidBlaster, I have got these two cameras. The camera on the left, number 2, is the one that's directly in front of me. And I can switch over to that, and you can see it change in VidBlaster. And then the camera number 3 is behind me and to my right, and you can see that one change over. And I think I'm going to actually get wild and crazy if I dare. let's see if we can do this. 1 second. We're going to add a module here and see if we can pick up that camera that's not working for us. Nope. No, it's not working there either. One of the problems that I'm running into today is interesting because a lot of times a camera, a video device, will end up being, what's the right word? Will end up being taken over by a piece of software for its exclusive use. So I've got 3 webcams and 1 camera attached to a Blackmagic Intensity Pro card today, and each of the softwares, VidBlaster, vMix, and Wirecast, would all like to have those cameras. Wirecast basically goes out and grabs any camera that's attached to the PC, even when you don't ask it to. vMix and VidBlaster are a little bit more socially adept. They wait for you to direct them to do that. Let's see if I can show you my Wirecast shot. Here. Nope. How about right there? There we go. So I've got camera 2 active right now. We'll go to camera 3, and camera 3 is and it's really as simple as that in terms of operation. Now you say, okay, well that's pretty simple. Why don't you do that in vMix? Well, the way tally lights work is when I go to camera 3, the sound gets muted. Well, I'm sorry, thank you. That was Martin K. in the chat room saying that when I go to camera 3, the sound gets cut off. That's interesting because hopefully that means we're picking up audio from the right source. Well, as long as you guys can hear me right now, we're not going to worry about that. Sometimes when you configure things at the last minute, you end up picking up an extra audio device. I don't think that was the case, but you never ever really. Oh, I know what was happening. Yeah, as I was changing to the camera, it was shifting to the webcam. Okay, exclusive use of video pass. Basically, if Wirecast is involved, Wirecast wants to capture everything. It wants all of the video devices for itself. Audio devices, for some reason in Windows, audio devices can be shared. You know, VidBlaster can pick up the same audio device that Wirecast picks up. If vMix wants it, vMix can have it too. Not so with video. Video gets exclusive control of one piece of software. So in our demonstration today, what we're seeing is basically that Wirecast has taken the camera that I had hoped to use. And so I've been shifting back and forth in Wirecast, actually switching cameras in Wirecast from this shot, which vMix is producing, to the Logitech C310 webcam. Now back to the tally lights. Tally lights from tally-lights.com. Basically, they had to write a driver that sort of interfaces with VidBlaster's API. Well, I guess it must not interface with the API because the Tally lights work in the Home Edition and the Pro Edition too. So it's something that the Tally light folks have done that has basically, they can recognize when the little tally light indicator comes on camera 1, 2, 3, or 4 in VidBlaster. Let me switch over to that shot for just a second. There we go. You can see down at the bottom, I've got camera 2 and camera 3. I had camera 1, but that was the Logitech C310 that I wanted to use for another purpose. And as I switch back and forth in those two cameras, you can see that the lights come on and go off on the modules. The red light and then the green light indicating that it's in preview. Tally light recognizes that, and it looks for camera module number 1, camera module number 2, camera module number 3, and if you have a fourth one, because the Tally light controller has room for 4 cameras, camera module number 4. If you have a camera module number 5 in VidBlaster and you say, okay, well, let's put that in the Tally light system, I'm just going to remove camera module number 1. Remember, VidBlaster doesn't renumber camera modules, so camera module number 5 is now your 4th camera module, but it's still recognized as camera, or in this case, not recognized as camera 5 with Tally lights. So you've got a little bit of a speed bump, I guess, right there in terms of your planning. You've got to get your camera modules 1 through 4 and keep them. If you remember in VidBlaster, if you remove a module and then add it back, or if you, let's say if you remove a module and then you add another module and then you remove the other one and then add another one, it doesn't go back to the previous number. For some reason, it says that it thinks that module doesn't exist, and so it renumbers it into the next highest number that has not been used. And Martin is saying in the chat room there's a new type of Tally light support that Mike has added, running a small exe file each time the Tally lights need to change. No use of the API required. That's right. It doesn't need the API, and so it's going to work in Home Pro, Studio, and Broadcast. And today we're using Broadcast, but even if you were using Home, the Tally lights would work, except for this camera module kind of little inconsistency there. So that's just one of the little speed bumps that we bumped into in using Tally lights. And we were going to demonstrate Tally lights in VidBlaster today, and what we found out was that the profiles that we do for the VidBlaster Guys show are pretty extensive. I mean, all of this territory right here is filled up with 20 or 30 modules. And so cameras 1, 2, 3, and 4 had been eliminated in past years for some reason or another. And I didn't have time to rebuild that whole profile from scratch in order to have modules, camera modules 1 through 4 available again. So we had to find out that, and that was good because we found out that limitation. Now perhaps they'll be able to work around that and just pick up the first 4 available camera modules instead of camera modules numbered 1 through 4. The other little speed bump that we bumped into in looking at tally lights in VidBlaster was that at least in my little world, that VidBlaster guy's world's not very big. In my little world, when I'm doing a show, the picture that you see here is not the camera module. The camera module looks like this. This is what the camera is showing. And so when I click on this camera, that's the tally light will come on for that camera. But the shot that I want to show is this. And when I click to this shot, which is an effect module, which keys out the green and puts in this great wallpaper that Martin made for me, and lays in this overlay right in front of me that Chuck made for me, and also the overlay that Martin made over here. All 4 of these elements, me, the backdrop, and the 2 overlays in the front, all 4 of these are separate elements, and they've been combined into this one shot in the effect module. When I click on the effect module to send it to program, which is what you're seeing, tally light doesn't recognize this as a camera. So there needs to be some sort of master list in VidBlaster or in tally lights that assigns the tally lights to a particular module. I think that's going to be the best way to handle it. Rather than just letting them arbitrarily be assigned to a camera, there needs to be a master list, a legend, if you will, where tally light number 1 is assigned to effect module number 4. Tally light number 2 is assigned to camera module number 3. And now we begin to take care of some of those problems. That same issue came up when I was using the IP decoder module. So I was using my Dahua 4300S IP cam and testing it with tally lights, and of course it didn't work either because it's not a camera module. And so to be able to have this list, this assignment list for the tally lights would be really, really good, and I think I'll make that as a feature request as soon as we get off the show here. Because that's what needs to happen in order to make it work with whatever your setup is. Right now, the tally light controller in VidBlaster is in beta, so this is why we have betas, so that we can discover what we need to do. And oh, by the way, if you've got VidBlaster, you can download a free trial from the VidBlaster forum. It's forum.vidblaster.com. And if you've done that and you're saying, well, I don't see this tally light beta, you have to hold down the control key and the shift key and then use your mouse to go up to the module menu. Click add and it'll drop down a menu, and then several beta features will be on that menu. This is as of version 3.34. So that's the story with tally lights. Now we're going to get Ted Kashmirzak from Tally Lights on next week or perhaps after that to talk a little bit about it. Tally lights also work with TriCaster. They'll work with built-in tally light system. The engineering behind it is really kind of interesting because in some cases with tally lights you have to actually send a signal to disconnect something. In other cases you have to send a signal to connect something. And so it depends on how the device, whether it's something like a network camera or the tally lights that Ted supplies with the system. Our tally lights here have 6 LEDs on the front, 6 red ones. I don't think I can get this one to come on live for you. And then on the back, it has a green one here. So if you've got a live camera operator, that camera operator can see that he's in preview. And then it's got an adjustment switch here for the intensity of the lights. And then here is where it plugs in. And in this case, it's just a little audio cable nothing fancy, stereo audio cable. And then it's powered through the USB controller, which in my case, and this is interesting too, Ted sent that down to me and plugged it in the first time. It worked for about 40 minutes and then it turned itself off. And then wouldn't work again after that. Ted sent me a new box, tried the same thing, on for about 35 minutes, and then it turned itself off. And so he was thinking, well, maybe it's overpowered by the USB and somehow something's burning out. And then Stephen Haywood with the Tech Buzz, if you haven't seen the Tech Buzz, the techbuzz.net, you need to tune in. He's got a great show on Tuesdays, I think, called Broadcast Now. He was talking with Ted about it, and he thought, well, perhaps it's not underpowered, perhaps it's, it's not overpowered, perhaps it's underpowered. So what if you were to put a powered USB hub in the loop? And that's what I did, and then things worked perfectly. So for some reason, my USB ports are not giving the Tally Light controller as much power as it needed, and adding a inexpensive USB hub fixed the problem. So I think it's very promising in Tally Lights. Looking at Wirecast, the Tally Lights will work with Wirecast. They'll work with TriCaster. They'll work with network cameras, and now they work with VidBlaster. So this is really pretty cool. Let's see, what else were we going to talk about? We've postponed our giveaway contest to April because we forgot about it and have to come up with some really good prizes. So look for that in April. We will also be starting a new show here locally in the South Alabama area called That Inspector Guy. We talk about homes and buying and selling homes in this little neck of the woods. So that'll be under the auspices of Eastern Shore Broadcasting, and we'll be having some more information out on that locally here before too long. If you want to get a set of Tally Lights, we're going to be adding those to our store, and so they're worth a look. It's about I'm not going to quote off the top of my head, but I think probably a grand and a half for a 3 or 4 light setup. It's not cheap, but once you get them working, they appear to be pretty darn bulletproof. And I think that, Ted, we'll have him on the show and we'll pin him to the wall on this, but I think these things are guaranteed for life. If they stop working, send them back. He'll repair them or replace them at no charge. And I will say that he's been very easy to deal with. Of course, he's easy to deal with because I'm trying to help him promote his product. But nevertheless, I've tried to help some other people, and they've been a lot less friendly and helpful than Ted has. I think this brings us to the end of the segment. Tally Lights, interesting Tally Lights. Obviously you don't need Tally Lights in a one-man studio. I've got them set up just because they're fun to play with. And let me show them to you one more time. Yeah, let me show them to you one more time. We'll get this camera set up. This is what they look like when they're off, and we'll send it over. Fewer lights. The reason why the one over my shoulder looks like it's fewer lights is because of the way I've got it strapped in. I basically the Tally Lights are one more thing. Let me show you about it. This is really good. The Tally Lights, I made this little Velcro holder for it, but the Tally Lights have a connector that fits into the hot shoe on a camera. which is great if you have cameras that have hot shoes. Well, obviously webcams don't have hot shoes, so we had to make this little Velcro saddle that allows it to attach to the webcam. And that's why there was only a few lights visible on the one over my shoulders, because it was covered up by a little strap. But it works. It works. Okay, folks. That concludes the show today. It's great having you in. Oh, by the way, the special deal today is that VidBlaster guy is offering a 10% discount on VidBlaster. Send me an email, that VidBlaster guy, Tom at thatvidblasterguy.com, and mention that you watched to the end of the show. Those are the magic words. I watched to the end of the show, and we'll give you 10% off your purchase of VidBlaster. Or if you already own a license to VidBlaster and want to upgrade from version 2 or version 1 to the new version 3, or want to upgrade from Pro to Studio, or Studio to Broadcast, or Home to Pro, or something like that, just send me an email and we'll work out all the details, and you'll get a 10% break on the price. So what can we say? What can we say? We can say it's time for the end of the show. Time for the end of the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you tuning in live. Hang on. I think Martin's got Martin's going to beat me up here in the intermission before the next segment. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks so much, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.